Um, I am the owner of Beyond the Numbers. My practice is based in Edinburgh, in the city centre, and we're a small firm. There's 5 of us, and we're a long-standing team that have been working together for a long time. And our clients are mainly small business owners, mainly in the Edinburgh area, and probably within professional services, tech, retail, restaurants and hotels. That's the kind of general area, and some design that our clients fall into.
Cool, good stuff, thank you. And if you don't mind just going back a little bit in time, I know obviously you've been with AVN for a few years now, but could you just take us back to the time before AVN, just give us a bit of a flavour for how your practice was set up, how that was, I'm trying not to influence any sort of outcomes from my questions, but, you know, what was your life like at the time running that practice, etc.?
It very much felt like all the pressure was on me to deliver results for my clients, results for me personally, and results for my team. It very much felt like I was the person that was doing all the grunt work with the clients, and I was not using my team to its best ability, and I was spending long hours in the office. I was working late at night, and the occasional weekend. I've never been one for weekend working, but the occasional weekend, very begrudgingly, I was working and over servicing some clients to the detriment of other clients. So it was let's just say we weren't all that profitable. I wasn't earning enough money from the business. I wasn't particularly happy with it. I thought, what on earth have I done? I wasn't happy with the fact that I'd set up my own business. I thought I'd made a mistake, and I thought about actually giving up and either just going to work for myself again as a self-employed freelance type person, or to just go and find a job for somebody. So I was pretty much on the point of giving up. Let's just put it that way.
So what changed for you, Val?
I decided that actually I should give it one last go before I gave up, and that I should try to make changes in my practice, and that was only going to come from me. So I had to figure out what was I going to do to actually move my practice forward and to actually get somewhere with it and to actually start changing my own life, because it's all very well feeling sorry for yourself, but nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. So I did give myself a literal slap and decided that it was time for me to actually make my own decisions, and instead of being guided by what everybody else wanted from me, to actually decide what I wanted and then take things from there.
That sounds good. And how have AVN played a part in that?
Well, I came across AVN at just the right time, basically, and that was through seeing Steve Pipe speaking at an ICAS conference. And he really struck me because he was talking about how we as accountants help change people's lives, and the impact that we actually have to help people on a day-to-day basis. And I actually started to feel a bit proud of what we were doing and what we were doing for our clients. And I realized that that was actually the case, and that we were having a profound impact on other people's lives. So I thought, this is actually something good that we're doing, so how to make it better. So I found out a bit more about Steve, and I watched a webinar which brought me to AVN, and I sort of was sold and decided to go along to the masterclass. And when I went to the masterclass, I was blown away. I was just thought, there are accountants here that are in the same place as me. There are people that I can talk to that understand who I am and where I am and what problems I'm facing. There are people here to help and support. There are tools, resources. There are so many things I could instantly change and instantly do differently that would make an instant impact on my practice. So I came away from masterclass absolutely thinking, you know, this is so exciting. I'm going to really make a change, and that was really the big start of my change.
Sounds brilliant. So I'm going to deliberately pick up on a word that you used a few times there, which was instantly. Was the reality instantly?
Yes, it was, because the first thing we actually did was go and fire some clients. So there was instant relief between all of my team when that happened. And so, yes, so there was an instant impact from that. And it also gave us more time to actually look at who the clients that we had that we wanted to work with. And we stopped losing money on these clients that were not the right clients for us immediately. So that was the first impact, and it was literally instant. And the other thing that was pretty immediate was we started using Times Up for pricing for new clients that were coming on. And so new clients that we were taking on immediately got higher fees quoted to them than we had previously quoted in the past. So that was another kind of immediate impact, because we would have taken on these clients at a much lower fee previously. So they were the two most immediate things that happened and impacts that we had after Masterclass.
So just on that subject for a moment then, with using our particular pricing software, did you not get resistance from clients who will likely have had quotes from other accountants, and then your pricing, more valuable pricing, I suppose, but in their eyes, how did you sort of float that boat, if you like, square that circle?
Actually, we didn't really get very much objection, because I think what we were doing before was underselling ourselves. When I was meeting with new prospects, and I was talking them through all the things we could do for them and the way we would work with them and who we are and everything, they got excited about the idea of working with us, because what I was suggesting to them was different to what they'd had from their accountant in the past. And so when the fee was quoted to them, there was very little. I'm trying to remember if anybody actually objected. And I can't actually, off the top of my head, think of anybody that said, once I'd met with them and talked them through everything, that actually said, no, your fees are too high. We did have people that we didn't get to meeting stage because we sussed them out earlier on the phone that actually just what they wanted was a cheap service. So we didn't get to that point where we were actually quoting them the higher fees. And we did have people, just getting in touch via the internet saying, could you just give me a quote for something? And we would always say, no, we don't give out quotes over the phone. It has to be once we've had a meeting. So we didn't really get a lot of objection from that point of view. And we also decided that, the people that we just wanted a quote or we could tell just wanted a cheap service, we would actually point them in the direction of another accountant that we thought would be right for them, because they would just give them a cheap service. So there wasn't a lot of objection.
I mean, I think you also used a key word there as well, which was you were telling them things that were different from stuff that they've heard from other accountants. Therefore, you've differentiated yourself, and price is no longer a deciding factor then, is it? Yes,
exactly. And it's still today, when we take on clients from other accountants, some of the stories I hear about the service and the treatment that they get from other people is quite amazing.
Okay, so just going on to your journey. So you went through Masterclass, but we're going back a few years, and as you will know, obviously AVN changed really its approach, didn't it, a couple of years ago, and you were part of that sort of transition. So just from your experience, how would you rate AVN before that transition and AVN after it?
What I would say is, before the transition, I came away from Masterclass, for example, with so many ideas and so many things that I wanted to do and change, and it was all a bit overwhelming. And it was actually making sense of what order I do all this in. How do I get my team involved? How do I do all of the things I want to do, and organise this and create a plan for it all happening, was all down to me, really. Yes, I have support from your team, but it was really all down to, well, I think I'll do that bit today, and I think I'll do that bit tomorrow. Whereas once I started on the roadmaps, it felt much more like, right, the plan is laid out for me now, and I can work my way through these chunks, and it just gave me more clarity about how to get through the process of getting to where I wanted to get to.
That's perfect. If you could just give us a flavour of some of the outcomes. Obviously, I don't want to make this whole interview too long for a listener, but I mean, the first stage of the roadmap is called clarity. You've just used that word yourself. It helped you get clarity. What would you say the key benefits were to you of getting much more clarity, and what does that mean?
Well, for me, I'm the kind of person that I find I struggle to actually get through things if I don't have a plan mapped out for myself for where I want to go. And I also needed to be able to bring my team with me, and needed to have them absolutely on board with what I wanted to do, because it wasn't going to work without them. So I needed to be able to articulate that to them and get their buy-in to that happening, or make changes to it if they weren't going to be happy with that. So for me, just the kind of person I am, I can find it really difficult just to work away without knowing why I'm doing it or where I'm going. So that was a huge benefit. And as I said, getting the team on board and having us all working towards the same goals was hugely key to us moving the business from where we were to where we wanted to go.
And in addition to the clarity, I mean, obviously the things that we help you do is kind of map out more of a future that's tailored to your practice, because obviously it's all about what you want for it, isn't it? Reverse engineer that back. But you added and kind of inspired me as well to introduce an additional element to that, which was actually your meditation and just getting clarity of the mind in that sense. Could you just share just a few moments on that subject as well? Because from a personal point of view, it's made a massive difference to me, and it's something that I highly recommend others do now. But that really stemmed from you, so.
Well, I'm so pleased to hear that. I want to convert the world one person at a time. We'll get there. It just makes such a difference to my life when I started to learn how to meditate, because I had so many things going on in my head and so many ideas coming at me and so many things. When you arrive at work in the morning and you think, I have no idea how I got here, because actually there's been so many things going through my head. This client's cash flow problem. Did I hang the washing out? What am I having for dinner tonight? What if one of my team is going to have a day off this week? All of these things are in your head constantly, and you're not actually aware of how you're going through life. And so I wanted to actually start to be a bit more in the present and actually enjoy living, rather than being either in the past or in the future all the time. And so I started to learn to meditate, and I as you know, I used an app called Headspace, which helped me. It might not be for everybody, but that was really useful from my point of view. And once I started doing that, I'm not joking, the effect was amazing. It was one of the best things that has ever happened to me in my life. I started to actually notice life going on around about me, and I started to be able to sit down and actually plan from a work point of view where I wanted to go, but not only from a work point of view, also from a personal point of view. My husband and I sat down and we did a life plan. We worked with a life planner to actually do that, and the ability to meditate helped me so much map out where I saw my life going. So it wasn't just about how I saw the business going, it was actually affected my whole life. And I do it every day, and it's just one of the best things that's happened to me. So I would really encourage anybody to give it a try and see how you get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, inspired from you. And I think the best analogy I have is it's almost like your destination's at the other side of a very dense jungle, not only with lots of trees and shrubbery, but animals moving about and everything. And it's almost like the meditation just clears the path, doesn't it? And allows you to really focus on what you want to achieve. And that made a difference for me as well. So again, thank you for that. Just moving on though, on through the roadmaps, and I appreciate you've not gone all the way through the roadmaps yet. What would you say the key benefit of going through the positioning outcome was for you? The positioning roadmap was?
I guess we had done nothing with that. We were a small practice. We had no particular identity. Apart from a good name, not very many people knew about us, so it really made a difference to us to actually sit and think about, well, how do we communicate to the world who we are? How do we share that with people? How do we get the message out there? And how do we actually let people know that we are what we are and that we can do for clients what we do? And it was just something that, honestly, we'd never thought about before. So it was a brand new step for us to actually sit and think about, okay, well, who are we? How do we want to tell the world what we are? And how do we share that? And how do we communicate it? It helped us with all of something that probably a lot of firms haven't really thought about before, because you're just carrying on doing what you do, and clients will come to you and you don't really know why, or particularly from where, but you're not doing anything to actually change that or make that happen. So it was really interesting exercise to go through.
And I mean, obviously, just from the viewer's point of view, positioning is really about, really teasing out how different you are, and that can stem onto what your own personal vision is that you want to create for your practice, your values, and your what you want to get out of the services that you provide. And one mechanism, I suppose, for demonstrating that is the website. It's not the be all and end all, of course, but it's the website. And I use your website as an example, really, every time I'm running those types of events, because I think you've really well, I don't know what it was like before, but I saw
terrible.
it. And it doesn't do what all accountants' websites do, which is just say, we do accounts, we do bookkeeping, we do payroll. It actually shows them how you are beyond the numbers. You're showing how you transform the numbers. You've got your values in there. You've got guarantees. You demonstrate fixed pricing. I think you tick all of the boxes as being different, but also being inspiring to a potential customer that's looking on there and thinking, wow, this is an accountancy practice that does do things very differently and can really help me. So I'm not looking for a response from you on that. I just wanted to verify that, I think that you've done a fantastic job, really, in terms of differentiating yourself with that particular channel being one means of showing it.
Well, thank you for that.
What about value then? So you've been on the value event, and this is obviously where we focus on different ways that you can add much more value to your clients to make their journey with you much more valuable, I suppose, just to use that word. What were the outcomes that you personally took from going through that event?
Well, I hadn't really thought about what our values were, and I hadn't thought about how important they were. But when I started to sit down and think about it, I realized that our clients do value what we do for them, and we started to think about what they value about what we do for them. And when you start to think about that, not only is it something that you can then use in your language with clients for going forward, because you can ask them what they would most value about working with an accountant if they're coming to a meeting. You can ask them what it is that they most value about your service, but you can feel quite good about yourself as well. So from the team's point of view, actually they started to value what they do, because they weren't just coming into work in the morning and doing a set of accounts or a VAT return or whatever it was they were working on that day. They were actually looking at what they were doing that really helped clients out and what really helped make changes to their lives. So they actually started to understand the value that they were giving to clients. So it's kind of permeated everything that we do. It's permeated our language with clients. It's permeated our meetings that we have with each other, where if we celebrate the thank yous from clients, and it's made us realise that actually we really like what we do and we really like how we help people. And we decided to communicate that on the website, coming back to the website again, with a video where, as usual, I'm chatting away about what our values actually are. And we've had people come to us and say the reason we're coming to you is because of the values on your website, because we share those values. So we've definitely won clients because of that. Brilliant. So articulating that and communicating it to the world is a great thing. And I think it's getting more and more like that in the marketplace out there. I think values are much more important now than perhaps they might have been at some points in the past. And I think people want to buy from people that share their values and want to buy from people that actually are happy to give before they get. So it's done us a lot of good.
Excellent. And also, I mean, I'll take from your website as well that the key offering that you certainly demonstrate on your website is in the realms of the performance measurement and improvement, the PMI type of service. So you don't necessarily need to go into detail on what that encompasses, but it's over and above just compliance work, isn't it?
Yes.
How do your clients sort of respond to that type of service?
With a huge amount of excitement in some cases and a huge amount of relief in other cases, because it's astonishing the number of companies out there where people are just working away like I was before in the past without knowing where they're going and without actually having a clue whether they're getting there or not. It's amazing. And there's when they start to get information that's helping them and helps them to make decisions, the impact is huge on their businesses and on their lives as well, because they actually start to think about, well, why am I doing this? You know, where do I want to go with it? And am I getting there? And what can I do to change things? So it's really useful. It's so much more useful to a client than a set of accounts. And yes, they have to have a set of accounts or a VAT return, but they're not interested in that. You know, if you try and put on a workshop about making tax digital, I'm sure most accountants have tried that and probably failed because nobody's interested in it. Nobody wants to turn up because it's boring. And most clients would just say, I'm not interested in that. I want my accountant to be interested in that. Whereas if you put on a workshop about how to be more profitable or how to put more money onto the bottom line or how to manage their cash flow, people are much more likely to come along to that because actually that's what impacts their business and their life. So it's that I think it's great material to use, and actually so much more enjoyable than just crunching numbers. Well, for me anyway.
So you're running more events like that as well with clients and prospects?
Yes, we are, yeah. Well, as you know, we set up the Really Good Business Club last year, and we've held monthly events which have all sorts of ranges of topics, very little to do with accounts in any way, shape or form, all about building value in your business or giving value from your business or all that kind of stuff. So people really like that. People are interested in that because they can see the difference that it makes to them.
Mm. Sounds great. And I think the final stage in the roadmap that you've embarked on so far has been gearing, hasn't it? Which really is about helping you leverage your time, help get your team on board, maybe tap into some outsourcing opportunities, those types of things. What would you say the outcomes have been from that so far?
Well, so far, my team is very much on board with where we want to go. I am training to be a yoga teacher at the moment. I'm going through a 2-year teacher training course. And so I needed to find time to be able to do that away from the business, which I am managing very well. Fridays, as in today, I'm at home today, I'm working from home today, and I went for a nice walk down the hill this morning because it's a beautiful sunny Scottish February day here, and this afternoon I plan to do some yoga. So I am having a nice Friday to myself, which would have only been a dream in the past. And because the team are on board and my team are doing the work plan for clients for the year, I feel like I can concentrate on the things that I need to deliver for the business. So my roles for this year are strategy, finance, sales and marketing. And the team's responsible for delivery to clients. And that is a miracle because it really wasn't that way in the past. So it's so different to where I was. So we're probably about halfway through the gearing work and the gearing workbook just now, and the next bit of it is really to get the team using more of the AVN resources, because so far, again, that's been mainly me doing that side of things, and so it's to get the team using more of your resources, plus to get the team more involved in client meetings where we're doing the work that is really of value to clients, with the clients together in the meeting. So that's happening more and more. So we're kind of in the middle of all of that at the moment. And it's working for me, and I think it's working for the team. They all seem really happy with it, and they feel quite empowered by the fact that they're getting some responsibility. They're much more interested in what they're doing because they're getting to talk to clients more rather than crunching numbers, as I said before. And so there's a really nice atmosphere. There's a really good atmosphere at the moment in the office, which is great.
It does. It sounds fantastic, that as well. Thank you. Well, just by way of wrapping up, can I just ask you, and I'm putting you on the spot, would you recommend AVN to other people? And if so, why?
Of course, I would absolutely recommend AVN to other people. It's changed my life. It's changed my practice. It's changed the life of my team. It's helped me spend more time doing the things that I want to do. It's helped me to get my life plan together. It's helped me be more profitable. I'm making more money out of the business. My team are all earning really well, so everybody's gained from it, and it's just made us all much happier to do what we're doing. So I would definitely recommend it to anybody that's thinking of it, to have the support of you and your team, and to have all of the tools and things that you have to help people, to be inspired by the events that I come to are fantastic, and to meet other accountants that are all moving through the same things that you're moving through, and to chat about the problems and the issues that you're facing, or the victories or the challenges. It's a great thing. And one more thing I would say is coming along to the meetings where some of us get together and we chat about some of the challenges that our industry is facing, and we try to work on how we could do something to change that, is also a really valuable exercise for accountants to go through. It's a lonely old place running your own business of any kind, and as for an accountancy firm, with all the changes that are happening in our world, it can be quite overwhelming. So to have the clarity, to have the roadmaps to work through, to have your support, and to have all your resources is a fantastic thing.